The scariest part about being a musician isn't failing. It's trying for years, putting in real work, real money, real time, and still not knowing if it's going anywhere. And that's the fear no one talks about. Not the bad comments, not the low streams, but waking up one day and realizing you lost yourself somewhere in the middle of it. You changed your sound 3 times, you chased what was working for someone else, you released things you weren't proud of because you thought that's what the algorithm wanted. And now you're sitting here, 2, 3, 4 years in, and instead of feeling more certain, you feel more lost than when you started. If that's you right now, this video is for you. You're probably thinking, Miki, do you know what you're talking about? Well, I've spent almost 10 years working in youth welfare and education with people who don't fit the system. And I've seen what happens when a system keeps pushing you to adapt instead of trying to understand you and adapt to your needs. At the same time, I've been a musician for over 20 years. So when I talk about artists struggling in this industry, I'm not guessing. I've seen this pattern from both sides. Before I get into this, I made a free reflection exercise that goes alongside everything I'm about to share. It's short, it's practical, and it's designed to help you get clear on something most artists never actually sit down and figure out. The link is in the description. Grab it before you forget. Now let's get into it, shall we? I want to talk to a specific person right now. You're somewhere between 2 and 5 years into this. You've released music, real music, not just demos. You've invested in it, promotion, mixing, maybe a few features. You've shown up. And from the outside, it probably looks like things are moving. But from the inside, there's this constant hum of doubt. This feeling that you're building on unstable ground, that you don't actually know who you are as an artist. That every few months, something shifts. Your sound, your direction, your confidence, and you're back to square one. That's not a talent problem. That's not a strategy problem. That's an identity problem. And it's the thing that kills more careers than a lack of talent ever will. Here's what I've seen happen and what happened to me. You start making music because something inside you has to. It's not optional, it's not a hobby, it's the thing that makes you feel most alive. And for a while that's enough, but then you step into the industry. You step onto the platforms and slowly, almost without noticing, you start making decisions based on what's working for other people. You see an artist blowing up with a certain sound. You adjust. You post something personal and it gets no traction. You pull back. You read a thread about what the algorithm rewards right now. You pivot. And 6 months later, you look at your catalog and you don't fully recognize yourself in it. That's not weakness. That's what happens when you don't have a clear enough foundation. When your identity as an artist isn't defined by you, it gets defined by everything around you. The trends, the numbers, the comparison, the noise, and you become reactive instead of intentional. You're always responding to something external instead of building from something internal. And here's where it gets really painful. Because you're not lazy, you're not untalented, you're working, you're showing up. But the effort feels scattered. 1 week you're inspired, the next you're paralyzed. One release feels aligned, the next feels like you made it for an audience you don't even respect. You lose momentum. Not because life gets in the way, though sometimes it does, but because you don't have a clear enough direction to come back to when things get hard. And they always get hard. That's what she said. The artists who last aren't the ones who never doubt. They're the ones who have something to return to. A why that's clear enough to hold them when the metrics don't. Most independent artists never build that foundation. They skip straight to the tactics. The posting schedule, the promo budget, the playlist pitching, without ever answering the questions underneath it all. Who am I making this for? What am I actually trying to build? What does success look like for me? Not for the algorithm, not for my peers, but for me. I want to pause here for a second. If you're watching this and something is landing for you, I made a free exercise specifically around these questions. It's in the description. A lot of people have told me it's the first time they've actually sat down and thought through this stuff. Now, let's talk about the systems. Because part of this isn't just internal, part of this is structural. You're trying to build something with depth inside systems that reward volume. You're trying to develop a real artistic identity on platforms that change their priorities every 6 months. You're trying to stay grounded in an environment that is designed, literally engineered to make you reactive, to make you check the numbers, to make you compare, to make you feel like you're falling behind. And when you're not getting the results you hoped for, the platform doesn't say, "This needs more time." It just shows you someone else who's winning right now. So you internalize it. You turn the algorithm's silence into a verdict on your worth. People don't care. I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't for me. But here's what's actually happening. You are measuring something deeply personal with a tool that's not built for depth. That's not a reflection of your talent. It's a mismatch between what you are building and the system you're trying to measure it in. And if you don't understand that distinction, you will keep making decisions out of panic instead of clarity. You'll keep chasing short-term metrics at the expense of long-term identity. You'll keep becoming a slightly different artist every few months, trying to find the version of you that the platform finally rewards. And you'll wake up a few years from now with a catalog that doesn't hold together, that doesn't represent anything, that looks like someone trying to survive instead of someone trying to build. So what do you actually do about this? And this is where I want to be direct with you, because most content about this stops at the feeling, at the validation. You're not alone, keep going. And that matters. But it's not enough. What you need is clarity, actual specific clarity on 3 things. First, who you are as an artist. Not your genre, not your influences, but your perspective. The thing that only you see. The thing that shows up in your music, whether you try or not. Most artists have never articulated this to themselves, which means they can't protect it. Second, what you are actually building. Not a vague dream, a real picture. What does your career look like in 3 years if it's going well? What kind of music are you releasing? Who's listening? How are you sustaining it? If you can't answer that, every decision becomes a guess. Third, how you measure progress in a way that doesn't destroy you. Because streams and followers are real metrics. They matter. But they cannot be your only relationship with success. You need leading indicators, things you can control, things that tell you you're moving in the right direction even when the numbers are slow. Most independent artists are operating without any of this, which is why they feel like they're working constantly but getting nowhere. Because effort without direction is just exhaustion. So let me give you something simple right now. A question. If nobody ever saw your next release, no streams, no likes, no momentum, would you still make it? If the answer is yes, there's something real there, something worth protecting. If the answer is no, then there's a good chance you're building from reaction instead of from yourself. And knowing the difference between those 2 things changes everything. If this video resonates, hit like for a second. Not for me, but so YouTube knows this is worth showing to more artists who are stuck in the same place. Here's what I want you to hear. You are not behind. You are not delusional for still doing this. And the fact that you're still here, after everything, says something about you that no stream count can measure. But staying isn't enough on its own. Staying without clarity is just suffering, and you deserve more than that. The artists who make it, not viral, not famous necessarily, but who build real sustainable careers doing this, they're not more talented than you. They're not luckier. They just figured out who they are early enough to protect it. They built a foundation that could hold them when the industry got loud. That's what I want for you. Not just to keep going, but to know what you're building, to make decisions from a clear place, to release music you're proud of consistently without needing the algorithm to tell you it was worth it. If this video resonated, I made a free reflection exercise that walks you through the foundational questions I talked about today. It's not a course, it's not a sales funnel, it's a short practical exercise that helps you get clear on your artistic identity, what you're building and why. It's free and it's in the description. If you've been building for a few years and feel like you're missing something underneath all the tactics, this is where I would start. And if this kind of content is useful to you, subscribe. This channel is built for the independent artist who's serious about the long game. No trends, no shortcuts, just the real work of building something that lasts. And if you want to go deeper next, click this video. It's about something just as uncomfortable, why nobody cares, and why that's actually not the problem you think it is.